Yo, what's up, everybody? Rob here. So I am really excited about this one. Talked to Kola. I met this dude from YouTube. So the thing about YouTube, and I'm gonna play some of his footage, so that way you can get an introduction the same way I did. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see short clips. If not, you just get to listen to me. But the thing with this guy is he's one of the greatest FPV pilots, which is first person view. So this guy is putting cameras on drones and dropping in next to the dudes that are in wingsuits. So he's traveling all over the world, flying with some of the greatest base jumpers, skydivers, sky flyers that are around. And he's capturing this amazing footage and turning them into these little short documentaries. And he was actually going to have a documentary shot on him, and sadly, there was a loss within his community that prevented that. So I'm going to shut up a little bit. I do want you to enjoy this. Enjoy the footage on YouTube. Hit him up everywhere. I'm going to drop all of his links below this episode, so that way you can hit him up online. Also follow me at I am Rob Childs. Let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, what you want to see and what you don't want to see. And yeah, I'm gonna shut up and let his video finish and start with the interview, because this is a good one, guys. So I'm really excited. So anyway, there we go. Cola from France. Thank you, guys.
You're listening to the best goddamn podcast available with your host, Rob Childs.
Cord, and it's perfect. Yeah, we're live. Yeah, it's just I like having a conversation. I don't really like doing a whole, interview type thing and making everybody uncomfortable or whatever. So it's just kind of getting to know each other. But yeah, so we're good to go. It's a Sunday morning here, and you're over in France right now. And I fell in love with skydiving recently over this past year. And so I've been going down some rabbit holes on Instagram and YouTube and everything. And I came across your channel and some of the best flying videos I've seen. I mean, obviously I don't have that much experience, but from what I've seen, yours is amazing. So if I could just get a little bit of that knowledge from you, hopefully that'll help me out a little bit and be a little bit more like you. So why don't you just kind of go ahead and introduce yourself, and let's kind of get this thing started.
Okay, yeah, I'm a French guy, 35 years old recently, and yeah, it's quite funny the way you start saying that you love my footage, which thank you very much. But I mean, I really did all of that only because I was really interested by the technical side of things and trying to do something that wasn't done and trying to see how we could solve the technical problems. That was the reason that nobody was doing it before. And the result of this quest is liked by many people. And it looks like apparently the world of skydiving likes the result. But
Yes.
the aim wasn't to create a beautiful result. The aim was more to do something complicated.
Yeah, no, I like it. Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of like trying to figure out a problem, but you're also letting the world kind of see the result of you just figuring out a problem. Let's kind of like pivot a little bit and back up, because how do you get into this? So just to kind of bring the listeners in, the videos we're talking about, you're not just falling out of a plane. You're wearing a wingsuit. You are.
I'm not.
What's that?
I am not.
Okay, yeah. And you're flying basically all over the place, getting these amazing shots, that is not easy to do. How do you kind of get into this? Like, it's what you do isn't a 9 to 5, normal everyday type thing. So what kind of led to you getting into it?
Getting into FPV drones is a complicated process. which is
Mhm.
starting to be easy because of DJI brand. But if we let's forget about these Chinese toys, and yeah, it's something complicated. You have to learn a lot. It depends of your background. Like if
Right.
you have a bit of an engineer background, it's going to be a lot easier. Or for my part, it was more video game. Um, but yeah, it's not easy. And if you wanna get good at it, you just have to really not surrender. And I know that many people have tried
Yeah.
and don't keep going because it's true that it's complicated and it's quite expensive. So 5 years ago I discovered that I had to send in absolutely all the money I made to try to keep flying. The start
Yeah.
was really hard. The start was really hard. And then yeah, you learn to build your drones and to set them up and to fly them, and you crash and you repeat a lot.
Hmm.
And yeah, luckily you managed to get some good results one day. And I mean, yeah, the results are what pushes you to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
For sure.
anyone can do it with a big motivation, I would say.
I I think you're full of shit, man. Not everybody can do it. It's so I started off on like an Eachine Wizard, and I
Yeah,
actually like
same.
those frames. They're heavy, they're bulky, but like if you break anything, you can just go on the website and get it back and plug and play. And I like them, they're workhorses. Um, but there's no way that I can get the shots that you're getting, like you're catching people that are flying the speed of the drone and you're right next to them almost as if you're actually flying with them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um
Now
and
that's
so not only
another. It's another problem because that's really development. Once you learn FPV, and
Mhm.
then I completely randomly met Zip on Instagram, who is not the guy you see the most. He's not doing wingsuit, but it's a base jumper. I met him completely randomly, and he became a super good friend. And it's him who pushed me to develop my drones to this direction. And that was heavy development, months after month after month after months, testing and trying to get close to brands, to
Yeah.
electronic brands, motor brands, and explaining to them that I had a quest to push a drone to this speed. And many of them were just saying, oh, you can't, this is way too fast. And some of them said, okay, but let's see what we can do for you. These are our ideas to try to help you. And then that was, yeah, development to reach this speed that allows me to get these shots.
Yeah. So I guess let's kind of just back up just a little bit. Did you start getting into FPV because of skydiving and base jumping and everything, or how exactly did you kind of
Not at all.
decide that that's the problem you needed to tackle? I guess is
No, no,
kind of
that
keeping up with
was
the
that was something I decided on the way. But the reason I started FPV was to try to keep having good sensations without breaking my body.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, that's the basic
Yeah,
thing.
it's a pretty good reason.
Yeah. I was spending way too much time in hospitals, like a few months per years, because I was doing extreme skiing. And yeah, once I broke my back for the third time after breaking my knee 5 times and stuff. And yeah, during the last time, because I was in a corset, not allowed to move during 8 months. And during this month, I discovered the FPV on YouTube and said, maybe there is a way to stop breaking myself and keep having fun, like a lot of fun. And yeah, this is actually completely true. Like FPV can bring you extremely powerful feelings
Yeah.
and sensations. It's amazing. You and you are
Yeah.
not in danger anymore. It's
Yeah.
just
No,
your money is in danger, but that's all.
yeah. Yeah. I've right now I actually have two sequestered discs in my back from a car accident that I was in. So I'm kind of going through like the rehab and everything. And I started this podcast a year and a half ago I had a pretty bad, I have a rare form of cancer and it flared up. And so I went through this whole thing and just trying to find other people, to communicate with and to kind of express myself while being, down and injured. So I wanted to fly FPV, but the money wasn't right there at the time, because you break a frame, that's $200. And so just kind of trying to go through everything. So it's cool that you were actually able to take a negative and turn it into a positive, and now being able to be, I would consider, one of the best flyers in the world, because not very many people are able to get the shots that you're getting. So when you started FPV, did you just start with a little $30 toy drone in your room to try to
Uh,
figure it out, or how do you
no, I
start?
started with the simulators on the computer, and then I bought the
Okay,
same
yeah,
as you, the eShine X 220S.
yep,
I bought twice of them because I knew that I was gonna break one, and I needed the parts on the second one to fix the first one.
yep,
And yeah, and I trained doing freestyle because I raced in skiing all my life, so I did not want to race anymore. So I said, okay, I'm not gonna race with drones. So I went heavy into freestyle, and actually, I think this is why I learned reflexes and fast moves. And I don't know, freestyle is very demanding on the brain.
yeah,
It's a really nice category of things. And yeah, after 3 years freestyling, and this is where I say I was training on the abandoned building, and this guy Zip just came in with his parachute and said, "Hi, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm flying my drone." And you? And he said, "How about I'm gonna jump from the roof?" And I said, "Okay, I have one battery left. Can I film you?" So he said, "No, I don't really like drones. Can you stay away? You can film me, but you stay away." And actually, I did a cool shot, and then we became friends. And I was on the base jump road from this day, and I didn't know at all what was going to happen, and I didn't know anything about base jump. I was completely not aware.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like the right person at the right moment. It's amazing.
yeah, it's not always what you know or who you know, it's timing. If all
Yeah.
three of those things can come together at the right time, magic happens, and it definitely shows in your work. So what was the first kind of trip that you took to for FPV? Because it looks like you have shots from like all over the place. Are you all kind of like staying out of one area?
No, but I guess I'm quite lucky to live where I do because it's near mountains in the French Alps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's quite beautiful, and we have a lot of empty areas, and there are many things to do. But yeah, I was doing small trips with, when you have a girlfriend and drones, and you have to try to find a way to put it together.
Yeah.
It's something super hard. So you say, okay, we go on holidays, but I bring my drones, and then you choose the where you go because you think it's going to be beautiful with your drones and stuff, but she's still going to be happy anyway. That was the few first years. And then after meeting this guy, I just spent a lot of my time and money trying to follow him. He was becoming a really good friend. It was really fun to spend time with him, but I felt like I had so much to learn because he was doing base jumping without wingsuits and speed flying. And yeah, so I had so much to learn about these sports, and it was beautiful things to film. There wasn't a lot of footage of that on the internet at the moment. So yeah, it was more very interesting quest about getting the experience. At the start, we didn't really know what we were going to do with that. And then it worked, and then we got good footage, and the thing went on.
Yeah. It I don't know. I guess I'm trying to pull some experience out of this conversation from you, because I'll throw my drone up in the air, and for me, I don't know what it's like for you, but on launch, it's like I feel like a little kid, like I got my drone in the air, and then you can hear it wind up, and as soon as you can't hear it anymore, it's instant panic,
Yeah.
because there's like how many hundreds, if not thousands of dollars flying around in the air. You don't know if it's going to come back. You hope it does.
Oh yeah,
I've
it's
I've
horrible.
left so many drones on top of buildings because I couldn't get to them
Mhm.
that it sucks.
Yeah.
So how much trial and effort, or not trial and effort, but trial and error are you going through, just to set up for one of these shots?
It's just it's countless. It's so many. It's crazy. Like you once you get the development part down, which I mean, you get a recipe that works. Okay, so I mean a
Mhm.
drone that goes fast enough, that is not gonna burn in the air, with electronics you can trust, and you have enough flights on it to be confident with it. So this part is huge, but I'm not even gonna talk about it because that's my own preparation, and then the proper story starts. But then I go to my friend because they are my friends now, but before they were just people I was gonna film. I did not know them, but you go to them and you present yourself saying, I trust myself and I trust my gear. Like nothing is gonna happen on this side. And I think it's quite important, and it's what I see with a lot of experience is everything is about trust. Once you start flying close to someone, everything is about trust. So they saw my videos flying alone super fast in the mountains, very close to terrain and stuff. So they said, oh, okay, it looks like you are a good pilot, but then we need to trust you. And yeah, I think this guy Zip at the start, he trusted me without really knowing if I was able to not hit him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then yeah, then like, I think it's really important to trust your gear before going to fly with someone. It's like a very first step, a very important first step. Because then you don't have to think, oh, maybe my electronic is going to burn, or maybe I'm going to lose signal, or maybe blah blah blah. Then all of this is on the side, and then you can properly focus. Because then you have to find the balance between keeping the good shot, getting the good shot, keeping the frame, like the best way you can frame it, because this is something I hate when my subject goes out of frame. For me, the shot is dead. So
Right.
and also keep him safe at all point, at all time. So you have to move this little slider always and feel like, okay, I'm getting a good shot, but is it dangerous? If it is, then I stay back, and if it's not, I can get a little bit closer. But never forget that safety is always more important than the shot.
Oh yeah. And so it's crazy. I know that there's a lot of people that are going to listen to this and watch this and think that, they know about like the DJI Mavics and, all like the DJI, like the normal stuff besides like the aviation or whatever the new one's called, the FPV one.
Yeah,
So a lot of people are kind of thinking, like, oh, I can go to, the mall, Amazon, pick up a drone and it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing. You're actually building the drones, and what people need to understand is those propellers, the props that we use, they will cut your finger clean off.
yeah,
Like, and that's just if you hold it wrong, let alone the shots you're getting. So I pulled up your Instagram page, and I know there's got to be some editing, for
oh yeah,
certain aspects of this, but you're very close to these flyers. And so the safety aspect comes is you are essentially flying, I don't know, I'm just going to guess anywhere from 70 to 120 miles an hour in an
but yeah, I
FP.
don't know what's that in kilometers per hour.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
200 kilometers per hour. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I was right about right around there. But and you're flying this weapon essentially,
Yeah,
like it's a flying weapon that if you get too close, for the wingsuits, you're going to rip into the suit, you're going to injure the guy, you could essentially kill him.
absolutely.
If you happen to, there's a million things that could go wrong. um so what's that, I guess, what's the relationship like with you and the jumper, to because you got to get close. And how do you build that trust and that relationship with somebody?
Uh, they also have, we have a. I think the FPV community is quite cool, and even
Mhm.
if people don't know each other, they are quite close together. I think it's quite the same for their base jumping community. They all know each other, and if someone says something, many people that who knows him are gonna trust him. So I flew 1 year only with Zip, and then when we started meeting some of his friends, if the guy allowed me to fly with him, Zip was there to say, you can trust him. And I think if he wasn't there to say this, then I would never have flown with other people.
Yeah.
Okay. And because I built something, I flew a lot with Zip during 1 year, and I built something really powerful. And then he told me, I think you are now ready to fly with my friend Verge, who is the Vincent Cotte, who is the wingsuit I filmed the most, and one of my
Mhm.
best friends today. And then at the start, he was keen on trying to fly with me, but he was saying, please stay away, because he didn't really know. He was okay to try just because Zip told him he could. But then he was telling me to be super careful. And after 10, 15, 20 flights together, he saw that I had a lot of control. There was no problem. I was able to avoid anything. So there we started to build a better relationship. I mean, in the air during flight,
Yeah.
and to be able to communicate, because we are always on the phone. So he can tell me things, and maybe just a bracket here. Maybe because I was a ski instructor before, and in a high level skiing competition, I learned a lot about reading the body during
Yeah.
when people do sports. And so I can really see with his legs, with his arms, with his head, if he's going to do something and how I have to react, like the way he changes directions, or like it's everything, because I'm looking at him flying, because I want to frame him at the center of my screen to not lose him. I read anything he does, and sometimes just with a finger is going to give me a signal half a second before something happens. So
Mhm.
it's like we developed this very beautiful and strong bond when we are flying together, and we understand each other. And of course, sometimes I went a bit too close to him, but I never hit him, and he never got scared. I never got scared either. When I think I'm going too close, I just go away and kill the shot, because once more, the most important is the safety.
Right.
And yeah, and so I jumped like 80 times with Vincent Cotte, and it took us 1 year to jump 80 times together. And after this year, he told me one day, I think you are ready to meet my friends and fly with my friends. And I was like, wow, I'm super honored, because
Yeah.
he trusts me enough so we can go further. And then the same quest began again. I met his friends. He told his friends, this guy is okay, you can fly with him. And then I had to build the same trust with all the other people. And then I guess I reached a point where you film so many of them that people trust you, even if it's their first time. They saw your videos, they see what you do, they heard what you say about safety and stuff, and they are not scared anymore, and they are okay to trust you. But yeah, never lose from sight that the mistake is always there waiting to happen. So always be focused, and yeah, never think it's easy, nothing is going to happen, because
Yeah.
that's not life. I
Yeah.
don't know
No,
if I
that's
answered your question.
no, you did. Yeah, no, you definitely did. It's a really cool way that you've been able to kind of merge two worlds, because the
Yeah.
skydiving community is like a very close, like the skydiving base jumping, that's its own separate community. And then you have the drone community, which is kind of separated between like the what would they be called? Like the novice, the DJI, group of just like the Mavics and stuff. Then you got the racers, and then you have the acro guys. And so like you have all these things, and you've been able to combine them all into these amazing little videos, but you also
Yeah.
have your YouTube channel to where it's like, it seems as if you shot this stuff for like a full feature film. Like it's a very high quality production that you get in the end. And not everybody can do this, like because of everything that you've kind of put into it to get to where you are. um do you have like an idea of what you're going next with this?
There is still a lot of I mean, I'm doing this for 2 years, and during
Mhm.
these 2 years we definitely saw the limits I have about the technology on the drones. Okay, so I can't fly far enough, I can't fly fast enough. Even if I am at 230 kilometers per hour now, it's not fast enough.
Wow.
And we have many problems. We are still trying to figure out how I can film them when they jump from a helicopter. Do I have to be in the helicopter? But I mean, so many technical questions like, is it going to kill my signal, and how my brain is going to react to the vibrations I'm going to feel, knowing that my eyes are not going to see the same image my brain feel. Then
Wait,
I
are
think
you
you get it.
flying from the helicopter?
Not yet, but we are going to try. Like, we have to know if that can be a way. We have
What?
to find ways. We have to find ways to push it. Okay,
See,
so
that's what
for
I'm
now,
talking about though. Like that's why I had to get you on and just talk to you, because I can't imagine flying a drone in a helicopter. I don't know how people fly while standing up. I like to sit down, otherwise like I get, I'm all over the place with the headset. How are you going to fly from a helicopter? Your orientation is going to be insane.
yeah, I don't know if it's doable. I have experience, even if it's not allowed, but let's say
Yeah.
it's not in France. It wasn't in France, but I have experience in race cars, and I did eight laps in a 4x4 following a Lamborghini on a track,
How is that? What,
and
what what's that
it
experience like?
it was horrible. Like, it took me, yeah, it was horrible. But I got the shot, and I managed to frame the Lamborghini all along. It's doable. It's horrible for the brain, but it's doable. And I think that the brain can be trained to do this. Um, I mean, yeah, it's doable. So depending, of course, like the pilot of the helicopter has to be 100% in the project, because he has to keep my antennas looking at the flyers. Like, he can't really put the helicopter between my antennas and the guy jumping. I mean, there are so many technical limits and technical problems to that. But for some jumps, we know that it's kind of the only way to do it, because I will never
Yeah.
be able to. Otherwise, I will never be able to film properly these jumps. And for now,
Yeah.
the technical limits are really exist, and my friends who fly their wingsuit, they definitely know them. And yeah, when the flight is too long, or when they turn around the mountain, and yeah, they just know that I can't do it, and they don't even call, because it's not doable. So yeah, there are so many limits to push. It's just the beginning, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know I'll watch a lot of other people's videos and little like cinematic adventures, I'm calling them. And none of them really compare to the shots that you're able to get. And the biggest thing that there's the sport of like wingsuit flying and skydiving, that whole thing. Then you have the sport of drone flying, and you putting them together, the biggest kind of bridge that you need is technology. And that's kind
Yeah.
of like the biggest thing that needs to advance in order for you to kind of continue to do what you do. How close is technology to, because I mean, in the last, I don't know, 4 years, 3 years, DJI came out with the 4K goggles, which the latency, that's a different thing to figure out. But once you get that down, like they look really good. And so how are you kind of adapting and adjusting? And are you like trying to work with any companies for any improvements or anything like that?
Yeah. So for the DJI thing, I do not own anything DJI, and I do not use anything DJI because the latency is worse than analog
Mhm.
systems. And for me, the safety of the people in the air I fly with is more important. So I prefer to see with an analog signal and a bad-ish, even if I think
So
it's
you're
quite
doing
good.
all
But
of this with
yeah,
the fidgety, like fat
yeah,
shark goggle.
yeah.
Seriously?
Not the Fat Shark, the amazing Orca goggles. They are absolutely
Okay. Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
and you can see properly in it. But yeah, it's analog quality because when the signal gets bad, I can still see it goes to black and white, and then I lose many pixels and stuff. But I can still see shapes, and it's all real speed. It's it's
Yeah.
it's still reality that I see. With DJI, when the signal goes bad, some parts of the image freezes.
Mhm.
So if that happens at the very wrong time when I'm very close to someone or blah blah blah, then for me it's a safety matter. So I'm not using anything DJI. But no, for me the development is definitely about the batteries because I need to be able to have more power, but stay that the drone is not too heavy, otherwise it can't fly fast anymore. So
Right.
definitely the biggest development for me would be the batteries. Yeah, and it's slowly getting better. Like I'm waiting for a delivery of new batteries next week, and I have a lot of hopes about these ones because the ones I'm using now exist for 2 years. And yeah, the new ones are not heavier, are not bigger, and they are supposed to deliver a bit more current, or at least a more stable current during a long time. Because all the people who develop drones to go super fast, like today I think someone did 370 kilometers per hour, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But I'm like, and they text me saying, oh, you see, we go way faster than you. And I'm like, yeah, guys, but can you keep this speed during 4 kilometers?
And that's a straight line, I'm assuming, as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the
Yeah.
thing is that I need to fly it fast, but I need to fly fast during a long time. And this is horrible in my quest of development. This is horrible because we know how to fly during a long time and we know how to fly fast, but it's super hard to do the two things together.
Yeah.
You see? So
How
because
like how close do you think technology is to being? Wait, first of all, if I throw an Eachine up in the air, I'm getting 2, maybe 3 minutes if I'm lucky. What are you getting out of your packs? Like, because you're pushing those things, you can,
I
I can
think
just
last year
imagine how fast you're going.
last year I had a good example where I stayed above 200 kilometers per hour during 1 minute 40, and for me that was a good performance. I was proud of my drone, like,
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, it's 1 minute 40 almost at full throttle, and the drone did not catch on fire, and so the battery went in the bin after this one because I landed at 2% at the feet of the flyers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that's one of the best performance. It's quite simple. I can go up 2 kilometers and I try to do it super slow to save the battery, and then I come back down almost full throttle. And for now, this is kind of the limit.
Yeah. I don't even know where
Whi-
to go
Which
with that. It's
which is good, but not good enough. And if I don't go up, so I take off from their hands, then I can fly full throttle during 3.3 kilometers.
so are you working with any companies in development and research for new products or sponsored by anybody or anything right now?
Yeah, I have. sponsors. I have companies that help me, giving me discounts on stuff. What I would say is that my background is extreme skiing. So
Right.
I'm not that amazing at developing new hardware, you know. That's their job. But with Immersion RC or Orca, who are really human companies and really listen to you, I'm able, and this is really amazing. I'm able to just tell them what I need, and they give me their feedback and their ideas and their new products that they develop in this direction, and give me the product saying, we think that is going to be amazing for you, or at least
Yeah.
better than what you have for now, you see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not an engineer,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah.
No, I didn't mean as far as like the actual like architectural design of things. It's more of like having like an insight, because you can have an engineer that can build like the best frame or whatever, but they'll never know unless they actually go fly it. And
Yeah.
you're doing the flying and everything. So do you get prototype things sent to you and to try stuff out, or you kind of you got your thing, and unless it's like a new battery or motor or something, you don't really back off of them?
No, no, no. Immersion RC is absolutely amazing, and they send me their prototypes as soon as they have something that flies, and I test them. And I know that for the last trip in Norway, they equipped all my drones with their Ghost protocol, and like 2 months before I left, and I had the time to trust it, and we were actually checking all the DVRs, all the my Google recordings, and it's pretty crazy. It's pretty insane. Like the signal actually stays at 100% all along. No matter how the drone is turned or where you are or how far you are, and it's really nice. And since I'm using the Immersion RC gear, I actually forget about my RC Link, because I just know it's solid. Like all the tests we did, then that's amazing, because it's one more thing you can not think about. You know, you clear your head. You are safe about that.
Yeah. You mentioned the Norway video or the Norway trip, and so I had to pull that up really quick because that was one of the, I think that may have been the first video of yours that I saw that kind of came across. And it, Jesus, man, it just looks so good.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like it's coming from a drone. It looks like you got like a cinema camera. You know
Yeah.
what? So what are you using as far as the actual optics, like your cameras? Are you? I can't imagine you. That's just you with like a traditional drone and a GoPro. You know, like
No.
what exactly?
So
What's
it's
your setup?
a
I guess from like your
it's
transmitter
a
to your drone.
oh,
It's
the transmitter doesn't change. The goggles don't change. But then it's
okay.
a Red Komodo 6K. I don't know if you know the cinema cameras. It's a Red Komodo 6K and with a 11 millimeter lens on it. And
Okay.
then the drone I have to make for that is quite a beast.
Wow.
And
That
then
that I wouldn't even know how to fly that.
no, yeah, this is
So what is
completely
that
crazy.
for the people that are just listening? You just
Yeah.
pulled out a pizza box and said, "This
Yeah.
is my drone." You know,
No,
like
because
I can do the
um,
same thing. Like I got one of these sitting here. I haven't flown this thing in forever, but I got a little DJI Mavic
oh
Mini
yeah,
thing, you know, and like you pull out a pizza box in this thing. I mean, this is just a toy, you know, it's basically
yeah.
just up here for looks, but
No,
what is
the
that?
long story short is that 1.5 years ago, every FPV pilot was starting to fly with cinema cameras. Okay, GoPro was really starting to look shit, and all professional pilots were flying cinema cameras. Mostly use Red Komodo 6K because it's one of the 6K camera on the market that is so light, that is the lightest,
Mhm.
and it's amazing quality. Or Sony FX6 or stuff like that. Anyway, so a professional drone pilot does not really use a GoPro anymore. and I was starting to make it my own job. So I felt I'm in a great danger zone because I'm only using GoPro at the moment. So for
Right.
the production companies, I'm just gonna go from a good FPV pilot to someone we don't really even look at because he's not using the proper cameras. But I want to keep doing what I do, which is high speed and wingsuit filming. So I remember it perfectly. I messaged the two engineers who are helping me the most. It's two guys from Paris from drone brands, and I messaged them and said, "Okay, guys, we need to put a Red Komodo 6K at 220 kilometers per hour. Like this is my goal. This is my next quest. What do you think?" And one of them said, I think it's impossible," and the other one said, "Okay, let's think big." And then he started
Yeah.
the development and the designing. And it took me from this message to the first flight, there was exactly a year of development. And yeah, we built a machine that on the first try, we were at like 225 kilometers per hour. We were actually a little bit above than the goal. And
Yeah.
so we said, okay, we have something here. So then I got the help of Luc Bannister, who is one of the best pilots in the world with so much experience. And he helped me to tune the machine because the camera you put on it is close to 8,000 euros. So you don't want to have any chance
Ew.
crushing the drone anymore. And the drone itself
Yeah.
cost around 3,000 euros. So it's like super scary to go in on this path, but we managed to find a recipe that works. And so this is all about the Norway project. Was I want to prove that I can do the same thing I do with my GoPros with cinema cameras. And I think the result is actually very close to the goal I had,
Yeah. No,
because it works. The video worked. I'm a bit amazed. I didn't think the video was gonna work that much. It's going in 24 hours on national French TV. It's pretty insane, you know. I'm very happy about that, and I think I managed
yeah.
to touch people. They like the editing and stuff. It's yeah, amazing, amazing. The goal is reached.
Yeah. No, you definitely do amazing work. It's very I don't it's for me watching your videos is like it's almost like meditative. Just because it's like if I can't go jump or if I can't go fly and I'm having a bad day and I just want to like kind of have nothing, like I can put one of your videos on and just kind of like hope to be there, wish to be
Okay.
there and just kind of like live vicariously through your camera, through your lens. And the fact that you have $12,000 just flying around in the air is that
Yeah.
in itself is stressful that I'm glad I don't have to do, and I can just experience it through your fingers. So I got a couple more questions and then I'll get you out of here. One of them is just super nerdy and techie, and it's how do you fly fingers? Are you thumbs? Are you pinch the crab
Pinch,
claws? You
pinch,
pinch?
and standing. I cannot sit.
Really?
Yeah,
How
I
long
don't
did it
know.
take you to kind of figure that out? Did you start off thumbs and then crash a few, or kind of like what was your system?
Uh, that's a good question, but I'm not sure I know the answer. Um, I don't know. You know, on the I have a big radio. I'm not using the little
Yeah.
toys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 The
And yeah,
Tyrannus.
I don't know. You have more precision in my opinion, of course, only. But yeah, you have more opinion pinching and more precision. I mean, and yeah, I don't know how I figured that out. Like just yeah, just flying.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at my chargers, battery chargers, I saw that I fly around 3,000 packs a year.
Oh my
So,
God.
so it's actually a
Wow.
lot of experience.
Yeah. I 3,000 packs a year. I won't fly that in my life. I know that I'm not going to do that. That's amazing that you are doing that though. I'm curious what your battery bill is. How much how much you actually spend just in batteries
Oh,
and
it's
throwing those
disgusting.
things up.
It's absolutely disgusting. And even
Yeah.
now, even after 5 years of FPV and 2 years working professionally with it, and I have to say that I'm lucky enough. I mean, it's almost enough to live and have a normal life, But actually, maybe 3/4 of what I earn doing this job actually goes back into investment for gear and stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just bought the whole new batteries for next year, and it's absolutely disgusting. I hate it. It's way too expensive. Even if I
Yeah.
have good prices, and even if I'm really trying to do my best, knowing people, asking nicely and stuff, but no, it's disgusting. This is why when the subject you film, you manage to sell some footage, and they say, okay, we do half and half. And you see, yes, of course, I really want to give you money because I respect my subjects so much, because without them, I wouldn't have the shot. And
Mhm.
also without me, they wouldn't have the shot.
Right.
But what we do is absolutely crazy about the expense.
Yeah.
And I don't think doing any sport is that expensive. Like, I mean, this is this is technology, and it's disgustingly expensive. This is
Yeah.
this is
Aside from
these are
like
my words.
car racing or something,
Okay,
I
okay, yeah,
can't.
of course,
Yeah,
of
no, and
course.
that's about all I can think of, just because of like you do have a car essentially in the air,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
extremely expensive. So it's very hard to get into because of that, which you talked about, like the little toys and stuff. Those are amazing for people to get something in the air, just to start learning, and then you can eventually go to like the DJI, or you get up to like the Tyrannus X9s, and you can
Yeah.
start to climb. So I guess my last question for you is, how would you recommend somebody get into the sport? You've kind of taken it to one of the highest levels you can, and I'm excited to see where you go from here. I don't doubt that you're going to continue to do this, and probably see you in some big time budget films coming up.
I
And
hope so.
but how do you recommend somebody get into this? Is it more cinematic, more flying? You're a filmographer and a pilot. That's hard to kind of angle somebody to do. So what would you suggest?
Now, if we talk about the FPV side, because then there is all the computer side and the editing side and stuff, and that is something you can't
Right.
learn
Yeah.
in 2 days. You have to like it. You have to like searching on YouTube and learning.
Are you doing
This,
all of your own editing?
yeah, absolutely everything.
Oh my God. You're
And yeah,
legend,
and
man.
but it's interesting, and I love it, and I love it. Luckily, but I
Yeah.
guess I guess you don't have to do it. You don't have to love it. You can pay someone to do it for you. You can have a friend who's going to do it for you anyway. From the FPV side of things, I would say stay humble with your gear. Do not trust your gear, even if it's DJI. Even like take the time to have experience and adventures with your gear, because you don't know why, but electronic will work perfectly on the Monday and will turn in fire on the Tuesday, and you don't really know why. And
Mhm.
you have so much experience to gather. I'm still learning every day. As soon as I change a piece of electronic and stuff, they don't have to react the same way always. So like, yeah, just take the time to learn. And it's something, because I'm not someone who speaks too much on the social networks. I don't like it that much too.
Right.
But I can read a lot these days that some professional FPV pilots are getting angry at the people who just bought a DJI Avatar, and they are already making money with it, because they just do a few packs, and yeah, the drone, you don't even have to fly it manually. You can fly with all the DJI
Yeah,
radar
yeah, yeah.
stuff that helps you flying.
You just
And
highlight something, I'll follow it.
yeah, exactly. And in the best case scenario, yes, this drone will actually get the shot in the best case scenario. But what happens as soon as there is wind, heat, cold environment, trees, anything we can think of, or a bad input from the pilot? Or, I mean, FPV, I think, is a lot about that. It's shit happens. And you want to try to know them all, or at least as much as possible. So yeah, stay humble and don't go onto a shooting thinking that everything is going to be all right. No, everything is going to be all right only if you take all the right decisions and you think about everything, and you are super careful. See what I mean?
Yeah. So I'll ask you one more question, and then I'll get you out of here because I know I've taken up a lot of your time. But it's when it comes to the expense. Let's say you have a beginner. Would you recommend that they put more time or more money into the products? What do you think is more important?
Let's say that you took enough time on the computer with simulators to gather good reflexes and an experience at flying. Because I think if you don't do that, you are just going to crash. Okay.
Right.
And let's say you took enough hours of simulator, and then it's going to reduce your chances to crash, even if they still exist and you are still going to crash, but a bit less than if you did not do it. From there, I don't think going for cheap electronics is a good way to go, because bad things are going to happen and you are really not in control of it. I know when I started with Banggood ESCs, they were just turning on fire for no reason, and your quad is burning and you are sad and there is no reason, and it's actually not your fault. It's just because you were trying to save a few dollars. So I'm not sure it's the right way to go. Today we have access to amazing electronics that if you set up properly and test properly, you can at the end really trust. So yeah, I would, if possible, go on the more expensive side, because at least you can trust your electronic once it's tested properly. Yeah. And then, but yeah, every friend who start FPV, I'm like, okay, but welcome in this world, but I just hope you are financially ready, and because it is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. If you want to push things, it is a nightmare.
Yeah, you could almost spend a mortgage payment just on a month of flying if you really wanted to, and especially doing what you do. And I can't imagine all the travel. And the more I talk to you, the more questions I have about cold and heat. And I don't know how you're flying a drone in Norway when it's freezing and your drone's
No. Norway was okay because we were there at the right period. The problem was more the rain and the clouds. I have some shots I didn't post yet, but I'm like completely in the clouds, and the guys are guiding me because they can hear my drone. They can't see it. I can't see them, but they're guiding me just where they hear my drone. Is, oh, get closer. Oh, you are on the left. Oh, you're on the right, until I see them. Anyway, but no, the cold is bad, but it still works. I mean, after minus 20 degrees Celsius, you don't really want to have to fly because it's going to be shit. The heat is bad, like the super warm summer we had this year. Actually, I got some emergency signals in my Google saying land because the drone is too hot. And I'm like, what? But this was working perfectly 2 months ago. And yeah, but with the air is actually 20 degrees warmer, and so you can't really fly this gear. You can't push this gear as hard just because the air is warmer. So yeah, but you have a limit which is set up with electronics. And yeah, the worst is seawater, of course. But yeah, once more, but many pilots are doing it today. We just dip the electronics into some plastics that dries, and you put several layers, and then you can actually land in seawater and take off. It actually works now.
Dear God, I didn't know that. All right, then. Well, I'm clearly on the beginner side of the flying spectrum compared to you, so I definitely got a long way to go before I'm up to your level. But it's been amazing catching up with you. We've been trying to get this together for the last couple of weeks, and to finally get this together, it's been amazing. It's been awesome meeting you.
Thanks.
If you're ever over here, definitely hit me up. And then I think one thing that if I could ask, I guess, is, can you make a behind the scenes video?
Oh,
And do
okay.
you
This is amazing to finish on
oh
that. This is
yeah,
amazing actually that you asked this question, because so that was my project. I made a Kickstarter because I wanted this trip to Norway to be a documentary, a 1 hour long documentary about my life with the wingsuit guys. Okay, and how we
yeah,
do this together, how we fly the drone with them, etc. The goal was to make a 1 hour documentary about that. And it's with a heavy heart that I say that, but unfortunately, one of our friends died 3 weeks before leaving, and it everything collapsed. I did
right.
not even know if we were gonna still go there and blah blah blah. And just before the trip, we decided to still do it. I mean, the trip to Norway for respect to him, because he wanted us to be there.
Mhm.
So we still went to Norway. Then I had a friend who was supposed to be the camera operator to shoot the whole documentary side of this project. And so I called him and said, okay, green lights, it's going to be horrible about the atmosphere and we are all going to be sad and stuff, but we are still doing the project. And he said, okay, no problem. I'm still available. We keep the project alive. And on the next day, he called me and said, I had a paragliding accident and I'm in the hospital for a few weeks. And that was like 3 days before the start of the project. So I felt like, okay, I have to postpone this. I'm still going to this trip because I want to see my friends. I want to fly with them, and it's still where I think I should be. But this documentary project, this behind the scene, has to be postponed. Hopefully for next year. Hopefully for next year. This is the only thing I can say now,
Right.
because I need to manage to raise some money, and it's nothing simple. You can imagine a project like that. But yeah, it was supposed to happen, and life did not want it to happen. So,
Mhm.
but it will happen one day. It will happen
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah, and unfortunately, especially in skydiving and anything that has to do with like an extreme sport, those losses they're never welcomed, but they're almost sometimes expected. And
Yeah,
so definitely sorry for your loss. Hopefully shout out
yeah,
to all his friends and family and everybody. And that's yeah, it's always horrible when you hear stuff like that, especially a sport that I'm like just now getting into. And I
yeah,
know in the future meeting friends, I'm gonna meet and lose friends if I'm not one of those. So it's amazing that you're continuing to do this and
yeah.
pushing
But
forward.
that was something I was not absolutely. I was not ready to experience this because
Yeah.
I did not know this sport for long. And it has been extremely hard to accept this situation and go along. And this is why actually the Norway video came out like 2 months and a half after we came back, because I needed to organize things in my head and find a way to accept the situation and accept what I was doing and accept what these people are. And they are all amazing and they are doing an amazing sport, but there is a risk, and it's not like ping pong where you are just going to have a wrist
Yeah.
problem. And that's the thing. And yeah, so it was a lot of acceptance, I would say. Like, yeah, accept what life is putting in front of you. And yeah,
Yeah.
now I think we all decided that of course we keep going. And yeah, and it's going to be awesome. And but yeah, of course, this Norway video is definitely my tribute to my friend Matt. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
all.
So how about we'll end this with you kind of letting everybody know where we can find the Norway video, find you on, social media. I know you don't post much as far as like Twitter and all that stuff, but as far as like your videos and the content that we've been talking about, how can people find that and reach out to you?
Yeah, so two main ways is Instagram, Cola FPV, COLA_FPV. This is definitely the social networks I am most active on. And otherwise, my YouTube channel, which is Cola FPV without any underscore or stuff. So COLA FPV on YouTube, and all the base jumping videos I made during the 2 past years are called Base 1 and Base 2.0 and Base 3.0. So it's pretty simple to remember. And if you type that on, I guess even Google finds it, because the last video worked really well and people seems to love it. So.
Yeah, no, the last video is amazing. And I'm definitely I'll put links to all the videos down below in the description notes to make sure everybody can just go straight to the video. So, all right, man, it's been amazing. Truly
Thank you so much.
Tracking in a little bit. So, next time you're over here, give me a call and we'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Take it easy,
Thanks a lot
man.
for having me. Have a good day.